welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Welcome to episode of Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, which celebrates our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our differences within it. And today we're going to be discussing the positives of asexuality, or the positives of being asexual in this highly sexualized world. So let's get tucked into it. If you didn't already know, thanks for the thumbs up. Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month was founded by me in 2017 when I published this book. And so today we're going to be reading from the book. If you haven't already got a copy of Asexual Perspectives, go on Amazon, download the Kindle copy to a Kindle app. You don't even have to have a Kindle. So, or grab a physical copy, obviously, which will take a longer to get to you. But anyway, so what are the positives about being asexual? Sappho's story is on page 147. So, Sappho is Sappho's. Sappho's story. So Sappho on page 147, I feel like the main thing asexuals have that is positive is we don't waste so much of our time. I was absolutely amazed to realise just how much time some sexual people spend thinking about sex. And this is so true. Like, they are very, very preoccupied with sex. Their whole life pretty much revolves around sex a lot of the time. And can they look more sexually attractive in this clothes, in that lingerie, if they do this thing, if they pose this certain way? And it's a lot of hassle, really. I mean, when I was in heterosexual relationships before, you know, there is kind of a lot more emphasis on the way you look and in preparing for sex and things you have to do for it. And, you know, like, and I wasn't even thinking about sex as in naturally I want to do it, because I don't think that way, because I don't naturally want to do it. But obviously, if you're asexual that's having sex or going to have sex, you've got to be thinking about stuff like condoms and going to buy them. And you've got to be thinking like stuff like the pill if you want contraception. And you've got to be thinking of stuff like, you know, like what do you do with your hands and legs and arms? And there's a lot of stuff you've got to think about, right? And so being asexual, that is a huge positive benefit, that you don't have to think about that unless you are obviously in a relationship with a sexual person. But if you're like in general, though, you don't spend like as much time on it, right? Because even if you're in a relationship with a sexual person, you would be thinking more about it, but you'd be thinking more about it from how is this going to work type scenario, and what do we have to do tonight, or what do we have to do today to prepare for sex, rather than actually interested in sex yourself. Do you know what I mean? So overall, I do think this person's completely right, that we do, you know, have other things we can do with our mind, and we can spend it thinking about much more enjoyable stuff, and that's not kind of like sexual at all, you know. And so that is a really, really big benefit of being asexual in this highly sexualized world, that we don't waste our time on stuff like that, right? So Ari's story. Now, Ari's is very interesting. This is on page 292 of the book. So what are the positives about being asexual? I like not wasting a lot of time thinking about sex, which is very similar to Sappho's story, isn't it? Like other people seem to constantly. I'm glad I didn't spend my teens making bad decisions in a lust-driven haze. I've enjoyed some of the relationships I've been in, but I've never felt sad or incomplete on account of not being in one when I'm not. Something I see my friends complain about. I'm at low risk of STIs and pregnancy from all that sex I'm not having. I like falling into relationships with straight women where they can call me their boyfriend without worrying about things being too gay if we had sex as a trans guy. I like not having to worry about seeking a partner who would both accept my gender and being sexually attracted to me and my genital configuration from the straight or LGBT community. So it's really nice to have Ari in this book, because they are, like they said, trans. And so it's really nice to see their point of view, you know. And, you know, asexuality for me and the asexual community, I think there are, you know, there's potential that a lot of us are very much more understanding and open to things and people that are different than the norm in society, because, you know, we are different ourselves. Like, you know, about 10% of the population of asexuals is meant to be trans, according to the surveys they do on like asexuality.org. So it's very important that, you know, we recognise this and that we do embrace each other's differences, which is what Asexual Perspectives Month is all about, people, all about. So we're going to go now to Jen Mullen's story. So this is on page 300 of the printed version, if you've got the printed version. So I never have to worry about STDs, no pregnancy scares, no concern of being in a relationship and one of us cheating because I wouldn't want to do that. Even if I did end up in a relationship, it wouldn't be with someone that's so desperate for sex that they would cheat. Now, this is very interesting because, you know, we cannot stop someone cheating on us, unfortunately. So when she says that, you know, they wouldn't be with someone that's so desperate for sex that they would cheat, I would like to think that's true. I'd like to think that if we get with a sexual person and they're kind of like not that bothered about sex, that it actually is genuinely true. But unfortunately, it might not be true. So, you know, you could still be cheated on. And obviously, there's emotionally cheating. Like, I've known asexuals to emotionally cheat, right? So they're so, you know, they've got a partner, but they're so emotionally close to someone else that it kind of like overspills the barriers, if you know what I mean. I mean, obviously with asexuals in general, I think we are more closer to our friends anyway, emotionally. So I think, you know, that's kind of a given that quite a lot we would be like that anyway. But, you know, there is kind of a limit, I think. And like I said before, for me personally, as a romantic asexual person, you know, I wouldn't be comfortable with my guy, if I had a guy cuddling his friends. To me, that's completely wrong, and that would be cheating, because that's my boundary and standard, right? I reserve that for a romantic relationship. But I've actually known asexual guys in the past to actually be cheating. Like, I've known one guy who was Mexican, and he had a girlfriend, and I didn't realize that because he was chatting me up and, like, for a long time, interested in a relationship with me. And then all of a sudden he comes out with the fact, oh yeah, like, me and my girlfriend are going through tough times at the moment. I'm like, what girlfriend are you talking about? Like, I didn't even know you had a girlfriend. And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm talking to another girl besides me online as well. And it's like, that's just such a cheat, you know? So, and there was another guy who liked to talk to multiple women at once. And it's kind of like, I wasn't very comfortable about that at all, to be honest. I thought, well, you know, you're still cheating. It's not good, you know. You're just chatting up multiple women and making them all feel like you're interested in them, really. But anyway, that's my point of view. So that's my perspective. Right. Stephen Smith's story, page 308. What are the positives about being asexual? This is very interesting because Stephen, I never thought of anything positive or negative about it. It's just who I am. And in a way, that's quite good, you know. It's about self-acceptance, self-love, and just thinking, you know, like, it is what it is, and I am who I am, and that's great, you know. So sometimes there can be kind of a calm resolve and just knowing that it's okay to be you, it's okay to be who you are, and, you know, that's precious, right? It's precious to know that you are who you are and you accept yourself fully with an open heart. Right, so Thomas's story, page 324. So Thomas says the positive to being asexual is that you can be friends with just about anyone without being encumbered by carnal desires. And I would agree with that, you know, like, you know, you can be friends with lots of different types of people without, you know, ever, you know, if you're asexual that doesn't experience any sexual attraction, you know, you can basically be friends with everyone without sexually wanting to interact, you know, without wanting to interact sexually with them, basically, without wanting to have sex with them. Obviously, the asexual spectrum is a huge, and some demisexuals, for example, once they've formed a deep emotional bond, would want sex, but they can't do that until. So, you know, for demisexuals, it's a lot harder to be friends with sexuals because, you know, they are going to possibly become attached and eventually want sex, which is all right if the sexual person reciprocates and is faithful to them, basically. But, you know, it can get quite complicated. For me, it's difficult for me because I'm a hyper romantic, so I can't really just be friends with the guy and don't think romance about him. It doesn't really happen with me. I will feel romance or aesthetic attraction usually for a guy like that. So that makes it harder for me. So I've got like no sexual attraction, but kind of like I do have desires, like as in terms of I wouldn't mind kissing him. So that makes life quite interesting and complicated sometimes. So this is Marnie's story. Now, what are the positives about being asexual for Marnie? Page 331. So, so Marnie says, well, now there are no worries of my husband being jealous of other men. He knows no matter how hard they try, I will never be sexually attracted to them. And I think that's a really good thing, you know, like if you are with a sexual person, they should have complete peace of mind that you're not going to go off with anyone else and not cheat. The only downside to this is you can get some sexuals who have been badly hurt in past relationships and been cheated on, and they are looking for an asexual girlfriend, like a partner temporarily, right? Because they're looking to be in a relationship with someone who they know is never going to cheat on them because they were cheated on before. But it's a temporary thing because they kind of like, I've met quite a few people like this. It's kind of like they're using you as an interim, like they're like being with you because they still want a relationship, but they don't want to be cheated on. But eventually, you know, if you're sex repulsed, they'll want sex. So they can't be with you forever if you don't want sex, and they do. And so it can kind of be like their rebound is you. And that's not healthy and good for you. And so I've had guys like this, like, I'm not asexual, but I'm so been cheated on. I don't know if I can ever trust women again. And so I want a good girl for me who's not going to cheat on me. And they don't really think of the other person. All they're thinking about is themselves and the fact they've been cheated on. So they're kind of getting this asexual to patch up that wound of hurt and trauma rather than dealing with the situation head on and getting some therapy for it, you know? So that can be the downside to that, you know, and you've just got to watch yourself and watch who you're coming into contact with, because you don't want people to be using you, because it's not nice, you know, you deserve damn better than that, I tell you. So Henry's story. Now, Henry says on page 341 that, about positives of being asexual. The biggest one I can think of is less drama. Although that's more of an aromantic thing. In terms of asexuality, well, it's always one less thing to have to worry about. Right, yes. So in general, there should be less drama because, you know, you've not got that sexual tension, sexual friction, you know, like all the kind of ups and downs of, do you want sex now? No, I don't. Do you find me unattractive? You know, if you're not wanting sex with me now, why aren't you wanting sex with me now? Do I look sexy in this? Do you want to have sex with me? Blah, blah, blah. But, you know, there can still be drama. Like they said, it probably is more of an aromantic thing, because whenever there's romance involved, for example, it can be very dramatic, you know? And when it's dramatic, it can be too dramatic, as in up and down the whole time. And it drives you crazy. And it's like, I don't want this drama. I just want a calm, peaceful, relaxing relationship as much as possible. You know, your relationship shouldn't be up and down all the time. It should have a level of stability and strength to it. And you should have confidence in it, right? So just watch out for stuff like that. Okay, because you want it to be healthy, not dramatic all the time and up and down. So Eddie's story, what is the positives about being asexual? No unexpected pregnancy, no STIs. Free condoms can be used for their purposes as water balloons. I love that. Thanks for the thumbs up. Lots of love. Water balloons. Everyday situations can remain uncorrupted by sexual innuendos. Love that as well. Hard drive space that would be filled with porn can be used for The Walking Dead or other movies or music. The plot of Game of Thrones is much clearer if they're not paying attention to the hooker's parts. Professional relationship with hot girl in the office is untarnished by creepiness. Less emphasis on physical appearance means I can dress comfortably. Yes, I would say that's a big one for asexuals, because we are not like predominantly interested in sex, the majority of us. Then, you know, we don't have to feel like we've got to put on an act, or we've got to, you know, have our hair a certain way, or our body a certain way, or our clothes a certain way in preparation for sex, because, you know, we're not having sex unless you are, right? And so, you know, there's a lot more emphasis on wearing comfy clothes, on being yourself, on chilling out, on just relaxing into your own body, into your own self, and just being beautifully you. You might have noticed that I don't wear makeup usually because I don't have a need for it, right? I think I'm not naturally beautiful. I'm not naturally beautiful, but I think I am naturally beautiful and I don't need makeup, you know? Usually my pictures of when I've worn makeup, I've got less likes on those type of pictures when I randomly wear makeup occasionally, if I'm going out clubbing or something, which I can't do because I've got broken ankle still recovering from. And, we're only just coming out of lockdown over these few weeks in the UK at the moment when I'm recording this live. And so, but I don't feel a need to wear makeup. And if I do, like I said, the pictures usually get less likes than the ones with me without makeup. So for me, the positives of being asexual is that you can experience pure love without sex. Obviously, less chance of STIs, STDs, but obviously it depends what sexual acts you're doing. If you're doing like oral sex, for example, if you're not having sexual intercourse, you could still get STIs or STDs or these type of things, right? And so just because you're asexual and not having sexual intercourse doesn't mean to say that you might not be doing some sex acts, which could still prove a problem or, become a problem. And obviously, if you're doing some sex acts, it depends what you're doing as to why you still might need to wear condoms and stuff. I mean, if you're doing stuff like dry humping or just if you're being really close naked together and then, a guy explodes all over everywhere, you don't want that going in your private part if you're a woman, right? So, you still got to err on the side of caution, because I've known asexuals in the past and they've never had sex before. And they're like, oh, I'm trying it, or I've got a boyfriend now, I'm going to do it. And they don't use protection. They don't use condoms or the birth control pill. I knew one who just got pregnant like that. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. Just because you're asexual doesn't mean to say you can't get pregnant. It only takes one sperm to fertilize an egg, people. Come on, So use protection, and like I said, some sex acts you can get diseases from. If you're doing oral sex, and you can still get diseases and infections and stuff, particularly infections, So you've got to understand that this stuff, it doesn't make you infallible to not getting those type of things. But obviously, if you're not having any sex or doing any oral sex or any type of sex, then of course you shouldn't be getting STIs or STDs, and so, it's important that you think ahead of how you are going to be in relationships or with people. And like, if you do get into a relationship, what type of things you want to do. Do you want to do any sex acts as an asexual person, or do you just want to have no sex, nothing to do with sex? Personally for me, I love being 1% of the population. I like being different. So that's a huge positive benefit of being asexual to me. I look at things in a completely different way to most of the population, which I absolutely love. I don't have sex. I haven't had sex since 2011. I'm really happy about it. So whereas a lot of people would be miserable if they weren't having sex because they're like, oh, what's wrong with me? Or why don't people find me sexually attractive? I'm like really happy that I don't have sex. And so for me, it's a blessing not doing that, not a curse, but a blessing. Also, I've made some beautiful friends through the asexual community that I wouldn't have made else. People who understand me. My best friend Sam, who really understands me, and I'm close in a friendship way to them, and they're the bestest friend I've ever had in my life. And so it's just incredible. I've also met someone who's another best friend of mine who originally was in the asexual community, but now they identify as into guys and not asexual anymore. They're gay basically, or well, they're not fully gay because they're non-binary. So yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it? So they're into guys basically, and maybe other genders like as well. So yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't have met that person though had I not found them originally on an asexual dating site. I've met most of my friends through asexual either dating sites or dating groups, and they are people that really understand me, that I didn't have that in the past. I didn't have that understanding about me. So I really appreciate the understanding, the care in the community, finding my tribe, as it well, feeling, like I've got people around me understand me now, and that just feels fantastic, and it makes me really happy. And I do believe in true asexual love. I've got friends who have got partners for life now, and yeah, so true love without sex really does exist, and I'm looking forward to experiencing that for myself one day. And that is going to be a huge positive, it's always been kind of my dream. Even I remember from 10 years old when I was thinking, God, there's got to be another kind of guy in the world like me, like a soulmate type thing. I used to think about stuff like that, and when we can hang out, kiss, cuddle, and just be bestest ever friends romantically, that's the type of thing I was thinking about even then. And so, you know, I look forward to that type of thing in the future, and being able to love, live, and be happy without sex. I like passion without sex as well. So I like doing like really deep tongue kissing, for example, and stuff like that. So, but my ideal scenario is I'd do that with an asexual guy, but never have sex with him in my life. I'd love that. It'd be bliss for me. But, you know, finding even the concept of having love without sex for me is just incredible, because before I came to the asexual community, I honestly thought that I couldn't ever date or have a relationship ever again. And so that was really disappointing. Then I found the asexual community and it all changed, right? But I'm happy being single for now. I need to be single for now. And anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. I hope you've enjoyed these benefits of being asexual. If you've got any other benefits, please pop them down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that great big bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now, posting a video. Lots of love to you, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Lots of love. Bye.